Hello, welcome to the Art of Shame-Free Living podcast. I think this timing is absolutely great that we're having this talk about hurry and about rush and about essence pace, because I think it's so common to go into the holiday season and to go into, Christmas and New Year's and all of the things and into the new year next year and give ourselves all of these demands and all of these goals and all of this, we're going to become self-disciplined this year. And we really kind of crack down on ourselves and we can be really unkind about it. And we can give ourselves long lists of all the things that we should get done, all the ways we're lacking, all the things we want to change about ourselves, especially people that really love self-help. We often do self-help from lack. I'm not enough. How can I change myself to be enough this year? Maybe I'll read more books. Maybe I'll stop reading fiction. Maybe I'll exercise more. Maybe I'm going to eat a little bit more healthy. Maybe I'm going to stop yelling at my kids this year. We have all of this list of things we want to change about ourselves from because I'm not enough. And then I'll finally get to the end of this race and I'll feel really good. And then I'll be able to relax. Then I'll be able to rest. That's what shame tells us. Shame tells us that life is a race and the race is constant and continuous and it never actually ends. And the closer we get to the finish line just changes. It doesn't let us actually feel the enoughness that is present, that is available, that is true for us right now in this moment. So hurry. I suggest that you read a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry if you're into this topic. On the very first page, he quotes someone, I can't remember who it is, but he says, hurry comes from a deep sense of inadequacy. So I read that and it really hit me in that moment. Absolutely, that's true. It definitely does. There's moments in books where I've read them that I'm like, oh my goodness, my life has changed forever with this knowing. And I know that this is true. And this is one of those moments. And I am a hurry person. If you know me, I talk very quickly. I think very quickly. I act very quickly. In fact, I recently was having this day-long event called the Art of Shame-Free Living Seminar. I'm going to do another one in the spring. And I asked for feedback from people. And some of the feedback I got was you talk really fast. I've got this feedback my entire life. You talk really fast. So if you're thinking oh, slow is just your MO. No, that is not me. I'm a think faster. I'm a talk faster. I'm a do faster. I'm a do all the things. So this way of being in calm and flow and slow is not my main way of being. In Kathy Heller's book, Abundant Ever After, she says, if you're somebody who doesn't want to do meditation and is oh, meditation is not for me, that's way too hard, you need meditation even more. When I read that and heard that, I knew that was true for me. I don't go to meditation retreats or meditate daily, which is what I do now, because I just love it and it comes naturally to me, and slowness and stillness is just who I am. That is not true for me. So especially going into this busy season where consumerism, society, regular conditioning is going to tell you that you need to be faster, you need to get more done, you need to have more done, you need to speed, you're going to feel that. It's a feeling within, and it comes from shame and it comes from inadequacy. I have felt this now. I've kind of done an experiment on myself where I pause, where I notice if I'm walking really fast or thinking fast or talking fast, and I pause and slow down and I'm okay, where am I feeling this? And I always feel it in the same spot. I always feel it in my center, and it always feels like it's spinning really fast and that it wants to spin faster. So sometimes I'll actually do a subconscious practice where I let it spin faster and bigger, and I just get into my body and feel. But the other day I was kind of talking to my son about this. We were on a drive and we were literally just driving around. We had nothing to do for an hour. We're driving around. We're looking for all the streets that have the really beautiful kind of archways where the trees cover the lane. And I love ones like that. And at this time, there was still some beautiful leaves that were changing color. And it was so beautiful. I was oh, I just love this. And I was talking to him a little bit about hurry and rush. And I was isn't it interesting that you can feel it even when there's not a rush or a hurry? And I was telling him the same kind of things I'm talking about in this podcast episode today. And he was I feel it right now, Mom. And I was you do? I'm we literally have nothing to do. We're driving around. We have all the time in the world. We're driving slowly just to look at trees. And you feel that inside? And he's yeah, I can feel it. I feel it here. That is what this episode is about. This episode is about how we are so used to go, go, go. Fast, fast, fast. Quick, quick, quick. That feeling is present within us, even when we don't have a long list of things to do. That our list of things to do is constantly, never-endingly growing. That feeling inside of us is something that we're feeding. I don't know about you, but when I get sick, when I get a cold, one of the first things I do is drink a lot of water and stop eating any kind of sugar, because I know that always helps cut my cold right away, right? Instead of feeding whatever bacteria, whatever virus it is. I think we're continuously feeding this bacteria or this virus of hurry and rush. We do things very rigid. We're like, got to be there on time, got to leave early, got to get all the things done. And we hold each other's to these high standards of like rigidity and time, linear time. And I think that oftentimes that feeds this feeling of rush and hurry. So as I have been experimenting my own self with rush and hurry, I realized like there's a lot of rush and hurry inside my physical body, even when I change my surroundings. And one of the things that changed most for me when I went to my 7-day meditation retreat is that feeling went away. And I feel like it hasn't come back in the same form that it used to be in. And maybe that's because I've been meditating regularly. I still feel it on and off, but it doesn't feel quite as urgent or rushed, but it still comes in, still happens, still shows up. So hurry comes from inadequacy. And I want you to experiment with this. Like, what's the rush? Whenever you notice your mind rushing, your feet rushing, your mouth rushing, pause for a moment. Notice that rush. What is the rush? Where is this coming from? Where do I feel it? What do I think I'm getting to? Why does this feel so necessary? For me, it feels like a mosquito bite that's itchy that I just need to itch, and I just have to itch, and I just can't not itch. But the more that I itch it, the itchier it gets. I feel this way often at the end of my workday. At the end of my workday, I'm thinking things like, have I forgotten about this client? Did I need to do this? Did I get everything that I need to get done? And even if I actually literally have done all of that, I don't feel any different. It still feels like, am I going to lose this? Am I going to forget this? Am I going to drop one of the plates that I'm spinning? And I think the feeling is in the body, and it doesn't actually have anything to do with my circumstances, even though it feels like it does. So again, the feeling's always in the body, the work's in the body. I also want you to think in that moment, what is your unconscious saying? So how is it feeling? But also, what is it saying? Like for me, it's like you might forget, you might let people down. Maybe you don't have the capacity. Like maybe your brain doesn't remember things as well as it should. And so you have to be reminded all the time. Like you have to just be on yourself all the time. And I've decided that I don't treat my body and my brain that way and that I don't believe those things. But I had to sit in the unbelief of that first. I had to sit in the uncomfortable rush, hurry feeling to move through that until I could get to the other space of reminding myself that like everything that is necessary will get done, that I'm already enough, even if I do nothing, that rest is even more productive than anything else I could do, and that I don't have to move and run at this high speed to somehow gain my worth. Self-worth is often tied to productivity. So think about that as you're rushing and as you're hurrying. And presence is found in the here and now. Presence isn't found in what came before, thinking about the before thing. Presence isn't found in what's happening in the future. And I think meditation helps us with that concept, with that skill of presence as well. But presence is found right now. I also think oneness, right? Being truly connected to the person in front of me, truly listening to them and not just spinning in my head about all the things I can do. I think that's a beautiful gift that we can give ourselves when we release that rush and that pressure. And quick note to remind you that the work is to dig more into that feeling in order to release it, not to try to avoid rush and hurry. It feels counterintuitive, but it's actually digging more into the tunnel of rush and hurry and that feeling and what's there and what's behind that and how it feels in my body that will release me to the other side where I don't feel that way anymore. I also think it opens us up to miracles, to impossible things, to manifestation. I'm reading a book right now called Conscious Luck by Gay Hendricks, and I love it. And even luck is conscious. Even luck happens, but it happens specifically through this idea of slowness, of stillness, of being at a slower, more present pace. And that's what opens us up to luck and to miracles. And in his book, there's a couple things I really love, but one is he talks about being coachable, being open to being coachable, and how every single moment can be a lesson. The more and more open you are, every single thing in your life can be a lesson. And so I think that as we're more present, everything becomes a lesson. Every moment we're present with the feelings that are being brought up in our body, our thoughts, our perceptions in that moment, and everything in life can become a lesson. And lastly, the other thing that he talks about when it comes to conscious luck is this idea called essence pace. And that's what gave me the entire concept for this podcast episode was essence pace, because it was life-changing for me. I love when I read something and I'm like, yes, that's it. That's the only sentence I needed from this whole book, but it was totally worth it. So he talks about how he was in New York and he was busy for a meeting. He was running late. And so he was running really rushed, head down, really, crunched up, just like getting there fast. And he happened to see his reflection in some glass on a storefront. And as soon as he saw his reflection, he was like, oh my goodness. He saw he was super tight, super rushed, scowling, just like closed to the world. And he was like, what am I doing? So he paused. He took 3 slow, deep breaths. He says, you're only 3 breaths away from feeling something entirely different, from opening yourself up more. So he took 3 slow, deep breaths, and then he relaxed. And then when he started to walk again, he went at what he calls his essence pace. Essence pace is going to be different for every person and even different for the moment, but he just walked at the pace that he felt like his soul was moving. I don't know how he describes it, but that's how I understood it, that his soul was moving in that moment and his soul wanted to move in that moment. And it was probably 50% or less of the speed that he was going. And he was able to smell the flowers and notice the sunny skies and notice everything around him because in that moment he brought himself presence. So I've been thinking of this concept of essence pace. And as I was running quickly, doing something, I noticed this. And so I paused and my speed went down about 50%, maybe even less. And I walked slowly. And even though my mind was like, but we're supposed to get there quickly, I was like, no, this is our essence pace. So yeah, maybe you're going to be late for things. Yeah, maybe you don't get as much done. Maybe you're not as productive. My guess is that over time, you're actually going to get more done and be more productive, but from a very different feeling, from a very different space. So I want you to think about essence pace as the speed that your soul moves at. The speed that your soul moves at in that moment. I'm breathing easily. I'm walking easily. I'm present with my feet. My feet are on the ground. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. That is my essence pace. I don't think I'm, at least currently, in my space of being able to just stay there present all of the time with that. But I do believe over time, I will get there more and more and more as I practice this. So I just invite you to notice that presence is a gift. Presence is a gift of the present. And I think that the more present that we are, it's a gift we can give ourselves and we can give other people. And it's releasing shame in a totally new framework. It's releasing time shame. My guess is your schedule will look different. Your rhythm will look different. Your to-do list might be non-existent. I don't know. I do know it will look very different. And that you'll probably have more time and space to ask your heart, what's on my heart today? What does my heart say about this? What does my heart want to do today? And that answers will come from your heart mind instead of that thinking mind that we still need, but we don't always have to tap into, that we're usually taken over by. I hope this was helpful, especially around this time that I think it's easy to not just get busy and add busyness to us, but also to feel rush, to feel busy. And I hope this helps you to shift your perspective on time and rush and inadequacy, and to notice any time shame that might be within you, and to move towards that tunnel more fully so that we can eventually release and feel more into that essence pace that we have. So thanks to Gay Hendricks for that beautiful book, Conscious Luck, and for the idea of essence pace, and also to the author of the Ruthless, Elimination of Hurry. And we will see you next week.